Welcome to the IELTS speaking test. Are you ready to begin?
I am.
Okay, this is the speaking test for the International English Language Testing System, conducted on the 26th of January 2020. The candidate is Tang, and the candidate number is 75001. And the examiner is Kevin Kelsey, which is myself. Okay, let's begin with part one. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
My name is Kevin, as I said. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My full name is Lê Tất Thành.
Great. Thank you. And what shall I call you?
You can call me Thành. Yeah.
Great. And can you tell me where you're from, please?
I am actually not from here. I am from Da Nang City, which is a beautiful coastal city in the central.
Great. And can I see your identification?
Sure, yes.
Thank you. Okay. Wonderful. Now, in this part, I'll ask you some questions about yourself. So let's begin with question number one. Have you borrowed books from others?
I definitely have borrowed books from others. Especially when I was in secondary school, I had to borrow a lot of books, like the Harry Potter fiction books from my cousin, which were kind of expensive and hard to obtain. And I also had to borrow some reference books for my thesis dissertation when I was a senior in university. In hindsight, I don't think there could have been any other choices for me but to borrow.
Wonderful. Question number two. Have you ever borrowed money from others?
Definitely, like 100%. I mean, who doesn't? I think when I was still a student, I had to borrow like money from my friend because I had to rely on my mother's allowances, which wasn't very abundant. So whenever I needed, to fit in with the gang, like I needed to borrow some money to buy some drink or like a snack.
Great. And question number three. Do you like lending things to others?
I used to be quite generous when it came to lending things to other people, either money or like a piece of belonging, because I thought it could be of help. However, after some troublesome and undesirable incidents with other people, either they didn't at all return the money or the belonging to me, or they were just late for the payback, I decided that yes, I learned my lesson, so I no longer allow anyone to borrow anything from me. So if they ask me to, lend them something, I would just say that, okay, I can do that, but that wouldn't involve any money from me. And I will ask some of my friends in my social circle if they can provide any kind of support.
That's great. And that brings me to the fourth question. How do you feel when people don't return things they borrowed from you?
I think it's inevitable to feel angry and disappointed, and I think that you have the right to feel that way, because when people don't return things or money that they borrow from you, it's the trust that is gone, or it's the promise that is broken. That's why I no longer borrow nor lend anyone anything, just because I don't want to ruin any more relationships with other people.
Great. Let's move on to part number two. So in this part, I will give you a topic and you will have up to 1 minute to prepare what you want to say and 1 to 2 minutes to present your topic to me. So let's begin I will give you this paper, a pencil, and an eraser. And here is your topic. I will also read it aloud to you so we are clear. So the topic for part number two is to describe a line that you remember from a poem or song. You should say what it is, what poem is it from, how did you know about it, and how do you feel about it. Your 1 minute begins now. Okay, please stop there. So remember, you'll have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay, so I am going to tell you about a line of a song that I am always reminded of. It is "There Will Be an Answer, Let It Be" from the song Let It Be by the legendary and incomparable English rock and roll band called The Beatles. And when I was in high school, I first heard of the song when I was in high school. And at that time, I was just enjoying watching a lot of like reality shows, like talent shows, like American Idol or the X Factor UK, in which the contestants and the bands chose this song to perform. At first, I was just in love with the melody because it was just simple yet really memorable and pleasant to listen to. But as I grew older, I became so much fonder with the lyrics. I think a decade later, when I was about 26 years old and I was struggling with a lot with my identity and my career path, in other words, quarter life crisis, I just didn't have any idea of what to do next with my life, so I was kind of lost. However, during that time, music, especially this song in general, spoke to me in a really special way and guided me out of a dark place. So that's why I decided to have it tattooed on my right arm, just to have like an immediate source of motivation. And it has been my mental compass ever since. So whenever I feel lost, during the chaos of life, I just look at it and it helps me navigate myself whenever I need it. And it's like a source of positive energy for me.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. Can you please hand me the paper and pencil?
There you go.
Yes, thank you very much. Great. So now we can move on to part 3. So in part 2, you were telling me about a line of a song that is important to you. So in part 3, I'll ask you some more personal questions about this. So let's begin with question number 1. Are you good at memorizing things?
I think it depends on what kind of memory you are talking about. Regarding short-term memory, I would say that I'm quite mediocre and I admit my defeat to it. To specify, I kind of struggle a lot with remembering people's names, even though they just said that to me, to my face, multiple times, and it's really embarrassing for me. Also, I forget my stuff a lot, like for example, my keys. So that resulted in me being locked out of my room multiple times, and I had to kick the door to break in. Regarding long-term memory, I would say that I'm quite confident with it. And I would go as far as to say that I still retain some theoretical knowledge of chemistry and biology back when I was in high school, while the rest of my close friends actually have their brains wiped out.
That's great. Question number 2. Do you think children like the rhythm of songs or poems?
I think due to the popularity of music nowadays, children would lean towards like songs rather than poems because it's more enjoyable and entertaining to enjoy an upbeat song with a catchy melody and great rhythm. However, poems are so much more difficult to enjoy because they are, in Vietnamese culture, considered to be more of an adult's cup of tea because they are really demanding of life experiences and exposure to truly captivate the true beauty of poems. Also, a song, if written for children, is usually quite simple and efficient so that the children can listen to and enjoy themselves and lose themselves with it. And sometimes they can learn it by heart. However, a poem is packed with rules to follow, like rhythm, rhymes, wordplay. How you say it is also an aspect to consider. That's why I would say that children should just stick with the songs.
Wonderful. Question number 3. Do you think it is easier for children to learn songs or poems than adults?
Interesting. I think I approve that children have an advantage when it comes to remembering songs or poems compared with adults, because when you ask a child to remember something, he or she will just memorize it just for the sake of remembering. However, if you ask an adult to do the same, he or she will be sidetracked and carried away by their habit of thinking analytically. So on top of that, they also have some other things on their mind happening at the same time, so their process of rote learning will be lengthened.
Sure. And question number 4. What can people learn from songs or poems?
I think songs or poems can teach people many things. First of all, they are essentially other people's life experiences. So they can, the composers or the musicians can turn these lessons into songs that are carefully tailored and distilled. So the meaning, the content of the songs or the poem will be so much more worthwhile and valuable, and it can help people identify with the meaning of the content. One more point, the songs or poems can sometimes have the power to unite people if they are carefully written. For example, to specify, like national anthems are songs that can teach people about the power of patriotism or self-sacrifice. So, for the sake of a country's sovereignty, prosperity, and security. Take the Vietnamese national anthem as an example. This song, written during the war, was like a significant part in constituting victory for the Vietnamese soldiers.
Okay, thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test. Here's your identification.
Thank you.
And you may exit the room now.
Thanks.
Thank you.